Part 186. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1851. Roar. Ho 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 ho. Whoosh whoosh. Suddenly there was a sound of piercing through the air, and a long black worm rushed over from a dark corner, mixed with a kind of power to devour people. The target that the worm was going to deal with was Fang Fan, and he obviously never kept his hand. Fang Fan noticed it earlier, and then he jumped, avoided the sharp edge, and then evaded in other directions. Boom! A boulder beside Fang Fan was shattered into powder, and the scene seemed extremely dangerous for a while. Heavenly Flood Beast, you stop. He is my prince. He is also a member of the Chu Kingdom. Queen Natasha frowned, and immediately stopped in front of the giant black worm. At this time, Fang Fan gradually saw clearly the figure of this giant black worm, which was actually a half-formed flood dragon, and the golden horn on the head was particularly eye-catching. Fang Fan stood up silently, and then stared at the golden horned dragon vigilantly, always feeling that this guy was not kind. But looking at Queen Natasha's appearance, it seems that she is very familiar with this golden horned dragon. This is the guardian beast of my Chu Kingdom, the heavenly flood dragon. It has always been in charge of guarding the inner treasury of the palace. On weekdays, he is in a dormant state. I don't know why he broke out suddenly this time. Queen Natasha gave Fang Fan an apologetic smile, and then followed suit. The current situation is generally quite grim. Roar. The golden horned dragon roared again. The key to the secret vault, no one is allowed to enter. I'm going to retreat in the secret vault for 1 year. No one is allowed to disturb me within 1 year. The golden horned dragon shook its huge body, looking at Fang Fan with an extremely hostile look. Heavenly flood dragon, divine beast, we have to go there in a few days to take away these true god fruits. Queen Natasha followed suit. Roar. Roll. Get out of here, all of them. The fruit of the true god is mine. If any of you dare to snatch my true god fruit, kill them all. Little queen, don't think that you are the queen of Chu Kingdom, so you can bargain in front of me. You don't have the qualifications yet. The fruit of the true God, you are not qualified to have it. This is mine. When I devour these fruits of the true God, I will completely become a true dragon. At that time, I will be able to break the seal here. I will be able to go out. Little queen. Your ancestors trapped me here for millions of years, now, I want to get out. I must get out. Will you leak the news about the fruit of the true God? Yes, you can't leave, I will kill you. Kill you all. Kill kill kill. While talking, the golden horned dragon immediately launched a fierce attack on Queen Natasha. This is obviously a posture of immortality. The so-called guardian beasts are now about to devour the Lord for the fruit of the gods. Queen Natasha froze for a moment, and looked at the golden horned dragon in disbelief. How could there be such a big change? The guardian beasts of their Chu Kingdom, when did they become so greedy? While Queen Natasha was thinking, the sharp minions of the golden horned flood dragon had already rushed over, trying to tear Queen Natasha into pieces. Go away. Fang Fan snorted secretly, and then rushed over directly, kicking Queen Natasha's buttocks, causing her to deviate from her original position. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1852. Hiss. ICAO. Fang Fan gritted his teeth and cursed. The sharp claws of the golden dragon directly pierced his chest, and a hot blood shot out following by a. Fortunately, Fang Fan's health bar is relatively thick, otherwise he would have been cold just now. Prince, how are you? You are stupid. Why do you help me block the attack? Will you, Prince, I'm sorry for you. Will you, it's all my fault, it's my fault, I should have taken out the fruit of the true God earlier. Queen Natasha looked at Fang Fan's damaged chest, and thought that Fang Fan was completely cold, so she rushed over with a look of panic on her face. The chirping and crying sound echoed in his mind. Fang Fan subconsciously scratched his head, it was really too noisy. Do not cry. Lao Zi is not dead yet, I won't make you a widow. This golden horned dragon is so strong. Fang Fan frowned, he just wanted to complain. It was agreed that the strongest in the ruins of the gods can only display low-level quasi-jihad power. He has encountered too many existences with destructive power. Once or twice can be said to be an accident, but the number of times is too many, so, can it still be justified? Fang Fan scratched his scalp, the numbness continued. High-level quasi-sacred combat power. According to your current combat power standards, it is unlikely to be his opponent. Fang Fan took a deep breath and glanced around. Is it possible that the Jade Immortal Sword formation that was just recovered will be wasted here? This is too worthless. Fang Fan thought in his heart, and then silently used a healing card for himself, so as to heal his injury anyway. As for the others, it can only be said that they are holding on for the time being. Anyway, I can't let him hurt you anymore. Even if we die together, I will kill him. Queen Natasha's anger was suddenly aroused, and fierce lights flickered in her eyes. Fang Fan wanted to say something, but Natasha had already rushed out by herself. From Fang Fan's perspective, Natasha's skin suddenly turned red, and her eyes were the most blood red. Even the hair is red. Fang Fan was stunned for a moment. What kind of operation is this, a queen who can change color? Fang Fan's eyes were full of confusion, but at this moment the golden horned dragon suddenly showed a frightened expression. Chi Yu's blood, you actually activated Chi Yu's blood. You lunatic. For a man, you actually used the power of your blood, you are crazy. Don't you know that every time you use Chi Yu's blood, your body will suffer great trauma, and you may even be unable to withstand the power of the blood and die on the spot. Madman, madman. The golden horned flood dragon made roaring sounds. While talking, the dragon swung its tail in the secret storehouse, trying to escape in horror. It's just that every time he crashes into the bronze iron gate, an invisible force will stop him inside. In other words, he was trapped to death in the secret vault. The blood-red Queen Natasha looked extremely cold. Grab the golden dragon's tail with bare hands, and then tear it into two halves. Forcibly pulled a dragon tendon out of his body. The scene was once extremely bloody. Ah. Let go, let me go, I don't want to die, I don't want to die. I won't stop you anymore. I would like to guard the secret vault for your Chi Yu kingdom forever and ever. The fruit of the true God, I don't want it anymore. The golden horned dragon hurriedly begged for mercy. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Xu Yu. Chapter 1853. The current situation is simply beyond the control of this golden horned dragon. Every minute, explodes on the spot. A little carelessness, the whole thing collapses. Right now, can I survive? Queen Natasha after the color change is too strong. Queen Natasha simply abandoned the long sword in her hand, and after pulling out the tendon of the golden horned dragon, she rode directly on it again, and then grabbed his golden dragon horn, and then, pulled it out violently. Ah! Pain. It hurts. The body of the golden horned dragon king trembled, and it was about to burst in place in minutes. At this time, don't be too panic. What else can I do now? It's all over. After Queen Natasha pulled out the golden dragon horn of the golden horned dragon king, she immediately kicked it out and sent it flying far away. The scene was once extremely bloody. Everyone's eyes were focused on this, and they were completely dumbfounded at this moment. Don't. I don't want to die, I really don't want to die. Ah! The golden horned dragon king trembled a few times on the ground, and then the dragon's body trembled, and then there was no sound. The scene was extremely horrifying at one point, with bright red dragon blood all over the ground. Fang Fan was inexplicably shocked when he saw Queen Natasha show off her power. Queen Natasha fell from the sky at this moment, and immediately came to Fang Fan. I'm dying. My Chu bloodline can't be suppressed. Puff. While Queen Natasha was talking, she immediately spit out a mouthful of blood, and she looked extremely sluggish. The bright red color on her body is also gradually receding at this moment. I can meet you, I am very happy. My prince, in the future, I can't stay with you. Queen Natasha trembled unnaturally in Fang Fan's arms, blood trickled down the corner of her mouth, her condition seemed to be extremely bad at the moment. Without my permission, you are not allowed to have anything. Fang Fan snorted coldly, his eyes suddenly became extremely deep. It's not a big deal, as for making such a farewell. Don't blame me for not reminding you, if you die like this, I will marry a few queens back every minute. Fang Fan curled his lips and said heartlessly. Queen Natasha stared at Fang Fan with wide eyes, completely dumbfounded at the moment. This bastard, it's at this time, and he's still making sarcastic remarks. Use this healing card. Fang Fan put a quasi-holy level healing card into Queen Natasha's hand without hesitation, and his gaze gradually became extremely calm. The healing card can heal all injuries, and the blood wound left on Natasha's body is no exception. Queen Natasha pouted, feeling a little aggrieved inexplicably. I've become like this now, and you're still killing me. Although Queen Natasha complained slightly in her heart, she still followed Fang Fan's instructions. After she used up the quasi-holy level healing card in her hand, white rays of light gathered on her body, forcibly stimulating Chi Yu's bloodline left by the injury medicine stone has no solution, there is no other way, this card will definitely not work for me. As Queen Natasha said this, a sharp light suddenly flashed in her eyes. How is this possible? This shouldn't be. The power of Chi Yu's blood in my body has actually calmed down. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1854. Queen Natasha was completely shocked at the moment while talking. Between words, I don't know what to say. A few seconds later, she had recovered as before, as if she had never used Chi Yu's blood forcibly. My injury, healed. Queen Natasha was lying in Fang Fan's arms, then she looked up at Fang Fan and said, her words revealed a sense of unreality. All of this happened so weirdly that she subconsciously felt deeply. I said, you can't die without my permission. You take these healing cards, use them if you suffer any serious injuries, or use them if you activate the Chu blood in your body, then your injuries will recover in a short time. Fang Fan pondered for a while, and then took out 100 quasi-holy level healing cards and delivered them to Queen Natasha. I can't, this is too expensive, I can't accept it. This kind of card that can instantly heal injuries must be a supreme treasure. You keep it, so that safety can be guaranteed. Queen Natasha shook her head, looking very stubborn. Fang Fan just stared at her, and now he still wants to drag the queen's score? Non-existent. Even the queen must be conquered by him. Do you listen? Be good or not? Fang Fan looked domineering. Queen Natasha bit her red lips tightly. For some reason, every time she was in front of this man, she would be in a mess. The so-called queen's posture would naturally be completely obliterated. Queen Natasha lowered her head slightly, and then took the 100 quasi-holy healing cards from Fang Fan's hand, looking cowardly. Fang Fan smiled and nodded secretly. Such a queen is more interesting. Let's go, close the secret storehouse, and come to pick the fruit of the true God when it is ripe. It's time to go back now. I have been delayed in the secret vault for so long, and I don't know what's going on outside. Fang Fan frowned, somewhat worried. According to the time estimate, it will take about 3 days for this fruit of God to fully mature. In other words, Fang Fan must defend King Chu for at least 3 days. Back in the capital, the entire capital looked like a mess. From every aspect, the scene looked extremely solemn. On the city wall, the soldiers in solid clothes are guarding conscientiously. All the troops have gathered around the 4 city gates, ready for the last fight. Report to Her Majesty the Queen and Her Majesty the Prince. The armies of Chunyang Kingdom, Tian Kingdom, and Akabane Kingdom are here. The 3 major kingdoms have 400,000 soldiers each. The 3 allied forces have exceeded 1 million. The scouts rushed over to report the news, and the frightened look on their faces was obvious. The 3 major kingdoms each have 400,000 troops. This scene can only be described as overwhelming. How is it possible? The regular army of the 3 kingdoms is only 300,000. Even if all of them are brought here, there are only 300,000 troops. How could there be so many? No. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Queen Natasha's complexion changed suddenly. The situation was a bit beyond expectations. It was originally predicted that the regular troops of the 3 kingdoms would each have 300,000 troops, but it is impossible to go all out, so each will only dispatch 200,000 troops, and the combined forces of the 3 kingdoms will only be 600,000. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1855. Now the Chiyu kingdom has gathered the strength of the entire kingdom, and has amassed a force of 250,000 troops. Although there is a big difference between 250,000 and 600,000, it may not be unbearable. But now the enemy army has doubled in size. With a crowd of 1.2 million, the situation is not so easy, and even, mixed with various risks. The sudden outbreak of the situation has brought a sense of anxiety from the bottom of the heart, a little carelessness. It is really possible to encounter various accidents. Are they all troops from the 3 great kingdoms? Did you find anything unusual during your investigation? Fang Fan walked over frowning, comforting Queen Natasha, and then asked Chiyu. It's a little special, that is, many of the soldiers don't seem to be wearing standard military uniforms. The clothes they wear are also varied. They don't look like soldiers from the 3 great kingdoms, but they just gathered together again. As the scout spoke, he immediately expressed his doubts. They are all people from the big world, just like me. They all belong to extraterrestrial visitors. Fang Fan frowned secretly, then said indifferently from the side. The current situation is changing, and it seems a little urgent. If you are not careful, everything will collapse. An alien visitor. Why did they gather to attack my Chu kingdom? We have never offended them. And also united with the 3 kingdoms. This is too strange. Queen Natasha frowned subconsciously. The astonishment on her face was obvious. The main purpose of them coming to the ruins of the gods is to search for the fruit of the true God. Could it be that the news of the fruit of the true God leaked out? As Fang Fan spoke, he sighed softly. The current situation is here. No matter what, we have to face it. What is certain now is that at this moment they not only have to face the pressure of the coalition forces of the 3 kingdoms, but also face the persecution of hundreds of thousands of practitioners from the dark camp and the light camp. Queen Natasha stood where she was, her eyebrows had already been pressed together, and she was deeply worried. As the queen of the Chu kingdom, she shoulders the important task of guarding the entire Chu kingdom. Don't worry, if it comes, it will be safe. When they come over, let's see what they are trying to play. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes indifferently, and gradually brought his hands together in front of him, with a murderous intent radiating from his eyes. Akabane Kingdom Army. His Royal Highness Goddess Huangfu, is your information really accurate? The fruit of the true God is really in the palace of King Chu. If the fruit of the true God is swallowed, it can directly break through the constraints and limits of this world, and then go out and go to the outside world, big world. Can my cultivation also improve by leaps and bounds? Qi Lian, the king of the Akabane kingdom, swallowed greedily, with an expression of infinite greed on his face. While speaking, a pair of eyes were fixed on the woman in front of him, and the eyes could not help flickering with evil light. A few days ago, this group of extraterrestrial visitors found him, saying that they could help him leave here and go to the upper realm, a powerful and wonderful world. Qi Lian, the king of the Akabane kingdom, became excited in an instant. He was tired of staying in the ruins of the gods. He didn't want anything. The purple of the women in the kingdom was also extremely mediocre. How could the women among the visitors from outside the sky be so enchanting? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1856. Qi Lian, the king of the Akabane kingdom, shook his round belly, looked at the woman in front of him with greedy eyes, and subconsciously swallowed a mouthful of saliva. The woman in front of her was not as beautiful as the beautiful queen of Chu kingdom, but she had a special flavor on her body. At the thought of being able to go to that colorful world, Qi Lian, the king of the Akabane kingdom, trembled with excitement. So cool. Huangfu Shui slightly felt the dirty eyes of the dead fat pig in front of him, and felt inexplicably disgusted. But there is a heavy responsibility ahead, no matter how disgusting it is, it can only be tolerated. This time, the Yishanzong finally managed to find a way to the Akabane kingdom, and succeeded in currying favor with him. In addition to some practitioners of Genji Shenzong, they also gathered some practitioners from the light camp, forming about 100,000 people, and adding the 200,000 people from the Akabane kingdom, there are more than 300,000 people. The 400,000 lineup is there, which is also a symbol of confidence. In addition, the kingdom of Pure Sun was taken over and allied by the forces of the Temple of the Light Alliance, and the kingdom of Tianq was taken over and allied by the forces of the Temple of Darkness. Generally speaking, the power of the light camp should be stronger. After all, they are also under the jurisdiction of the light camp. The light camp has the support of two kingdoms at the moment, while the dark camp has only one kingdom. Huangfu Sui originally felt that she was the goddess of the third peak of Genji Shenzong. She was extremely arrogant, and she always sneered at the things of currying favor with these native kings, but the fruit of God was right in front of her eyes, she should do it. After all, this is related to the fate of the entire Genji Shenzong. Huangfu Sui thought about this in her heart, and couldn't help showing a smile on her face. King Kilian, how dare I lie to you? You are so powerful and mighty. When you go to the outside world, you will be the king immediately. By then, the number of people you can control and govern will be more than a few million. I'm afraid it will be tens of billions and tens of trillions. Fu Sui, the goddess of the third peak of Genji Shenzong, was talking, and then she said with a charming face, and there was a kind of coquettish meaning mixed in her words. Inexplicably, it gave people a feeling of trembling all over. The few Genji Shen Zone practitioners next to them subconsciously shook their bodies, feeling goosebumps inexplicably. However, Qi Lian, the king of the Akabane kingdom, seemed to be useful, with a pair of sneaky eyes fixed on Huangfu Sui's body. Especially in the chest and buttocks, the scanning area is the hottest. Then subconsciously stretched out his hand, wanting to scratch a wave. Huangfu Shui felt disgusted for a while, and her brows were also furrowed rapidly. She really wanted to cut off the fat pig in front of her. But when he was in front of the eyes, all behavior stopped. Oops. King Qi Lian, you hate me to death. We still have a lot of important tasks to do, don't be distracted. Huangfu Sui completely let go, and all kinds of words seemed relaxed and casual in her mouth, without even the slightest pressure at all. You're such a clever little ghost. You promised me that when this matter is over, you will accompany me, you can't go back on your word. At that time, the king will marry you as my queen. I will make you the most honorable woman in the world. Food delicious, drink spicy food, enjoy it all. Qi Lian, the king of the Akabane kingdom, licked his lips, becoming more and more excited. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1857. Fu Sui, the third peak goddess of Genji Shenzone, gritted her teeth slightly, even though she was extremely disgusted in her heart, she never showed it on her face, and she still had a smile on her face. What should be lived on. The army of the Pure Sun Kingdom, Tai Shuqian, the god son of the Temple of the Alliance of Light, secretly narrowed his eyes, with a smile on his lips. To flatten the Chu kingdom, we must seize the fruit of God. When you take the fruit of the gods, you will all be rewarded endlessly. In the army of the Tian kingdom, He Tian, the god son of the Dark Temple, licked his bloody mouth, and then casually threw the woman whose blood had been sucked dry on the ground. His eyes became fierce one after another. Phew, virgin blood, really delicious. Our lovely little king, your daughter's taste is really good. Huh, I remember how many daughters you have? Send them to me, I want to taste them one by one. I will be so happy to serve the Son of God when the time comes, and just rewarding you with a few items is enough for you to pass on for millions of years. Ha 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 ha. I don't know why, but I find that the blood of you native virgins is extraordinarily sweet. As He Tian, the son of the Dark Temple, spoke, he took a light breath, as if he was still reminiscing about that wonderful feeling. At this moment, Cassius, the king of the Tian kingdom, stood in place. His hands were deeply embedded in his flesh, and strands of blood slowly flowed down his fingers. His face became grim. The desire to kill is booming. These devouring demons. Originally, the people of their Tian kingdom lived and worked in peace and contentment, without contending with the world. How comfortable. But these demons broke in, slaughtered his people wantonly, and abused his soldiers at will. Even, completely captured his palace. Forced and helpless, they can only choose to submit, choose to be expelled and move forward, to be dominated to attack the Chu kingdom. In fact, the Chu kingdom has always been an ally of their Tian kingdom. Cassius, the king of the Tian kingdom, felt extremely heartbroken when he violated the covenant and killed him this time. At this moment, King Chu is getting closer to them, they can even look directly at them. Everything seemed so touching. The three great kingdoms gathered in the capital of King Chu. They have only one purpose. That is the fruit of God in King Chu's palace. In a sense, this war is actually jointly promoted by the Light Camp and the Dark Camp. The city walls of the capital of the small King Chu were surrounded by water. The scene once seemed extremely dangerous. Fang Fan stood on the top of the capital city, looked at the millions of troops below the city, and his scalp felt a little numb. Kingdom of Chu. Hand over the fruit of God. You can live. Otherwise. Massacre the city. Haishan, the god son of the dark temple, soared into the sky, and as soon as he uttered a word, there was a sound of vibrations one after another. Hand over the fruit of God. Hand over the fruit of God. Hand over the fruit of God. The momentum of millions of people surrendering at the same time is still very strong. Although the defenders on the city wall of the Chu kingdom can still stick to their posts at this moment, their hearts are already throbbing. Even all kinds of ideas are churning wildly. Although it is their duty and obligation to defend their homeland, they can forge a wall of flesh and blood. But sacrifices also have meaning. This is clearly a battle that ends without a problem. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1858. The enemy lineup is too strong. In terms of military strength, it is 5 times their size. Morale is even more majestic. Strong people gather, what can they use to match it? This is a battle without any suspense. Sacrifice is even more pointless. The morale of the Chiyu Kingdom's army was a little shaken. I am Haishan, the son of God of the Dark Temple. Hand over the fruit of God. Please don't die. I am Tai Shuqian, the God son of the Alliance of Light. Give me the fruit of God. It will keep you safe. I'm Fu Suiai, the goddess of Genji Shenzong of the Light Camp. The fruit of God. It's ours. 3 battles. Stormy. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, and suddenly his eyebrows moved slightly, unexpectedly found some old acquaintances inside. Huangfu Suiai, goddess of the 3rd peak of Genji Shenzong. Fang Fan remembers whipping her well before the entrance of the ruins of the gods. This woman also performed a wave of suicide attempts back then, and she lost all face. Let Fang Fan watch a good show. Did not expect to meet here again. Is this the so-called narrow encounter road? Fang Fan chuckled, feeling more and more interesting. This wave after wave, feels extremely deep. It feels, very comfortable too. Prince, we will fight to the end. Queen Natasha is holding a long sword, and she has put on a silver armor all over her body, looking heroic. She is already ready to fight to the death. As the king of the Chu kingdom, she was born with the duty of guardianship. Need not. There's no need to fight with this group of people. Don't move around here, I'll meet them and come back. Fang Fan smiled indifferently, and then his body rose into the air. Priest Huangfu, long time no see. Fang Fan bared his teeth and grinned, and greeted Huangfu Suiai in front of him. After all, among so many people, he only knew such one. Huangfu Suiai used to have an unusually arrogant expression, but now seeing Fang Fan, her expression suddenly changed. You, how could it be you? Huangfu Shui's eyes widened slightly, and the sound of breathing was particularly strong, as if she was suddenly frightened. While talking, her body trembled unnaturally. This is her nightmare. She will never forget the humiliation she experienced at Fang Fan's hands. Although it has been several days, but sometimes the memory is so deep. Even as time goes by, such memories become more and more clear. It's me, what's the matter? Priestess Huangfu seemed surprised. Fang Fan bared his teeth and grinned, his expression very indifferent. I'm going to kill you. Kill you, bastard. Huangfu Suiai drew out her long sword, as if she was about to pounce. You'd better think about it, whether you have such power. Fang Fan snorted coldly, stood in the distance and said indifferently. Fang Fan is confident enough to deal with war scum like Huangfu Suiai. Huangfu Suiai's face struggled for a while, thinking of Fang Fan's way of being so helpless to fight back before. Her face became glued for a while. Okay. Let's settle your grievances slowly. Get out of the way. This son of God is going to the palace of King Chu to seize the fruit of God. Get out of the way. Don't stand in the way of the Son of God. Taishukian, the god-son of the Temple of the Alliance of Light, frowned with a proud attitude. As one of the few remaining sons of God in the Temple of the Alliance of Light, he does have a certain amount of proud capital. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shuyu. Chapter 1859. Are you talking to me? Fang Fan's indifferent eyes looked at Taishukian, the godson of the Temple of the Light Alliance, and his eyes were extremely sharp. Yell. What? Do you still dare to show off in front of the Son of God? What do you think you are? I let you go to save face. I really don't know what to say. I think you should also be a member of the big world. Are you still a practitioner of my light camp? Kneel on the ground and welcome the Son of God to the capital of Shu Kingdom. This is your duty. Taishukian, the godson of the Temple of the Alliance of Light, stands proudly, full of arrogance. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes secretly, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Interesting, really interesting. It was the first time he had seen him speak so confidently about committing suicide. Fang Fan walked forward silently, and then grinned. Seeing this, Taishukian, the godson of the Temple of the Light Alliance, looked even more proud. He felt that Fang Fan was terrified, so he walked up to him, ready to surrender. Snapped. A few seconds later, a loud slap sounded, and the scene fell into a freeze. Godson of the Temple of the Alliance of Light was slapped in public. Everyone gasped, it was so awesome. Is this going to break the sky? Pierce the ground? And then, kill everything? You dare to hit me? You're crazy. Don't you know the identity of the Son of God? Where did you get the confidence? Taishukian, the son of the God of the Alliance of Light, gritted his teeth and spoke, with veins popping out on his forehead as he spoke. Obviously, the rage has reached its limit at this moment. He wanted to vent completely, and he swore to tear Fang Fan into pieces. Why can't I hit you? According to the rules of the temple, the godson of the temple confers the 4th rank priesthood. I am the deputy 3rd rank acting archbishop of the temple. You are rude to me and yell at me every now and then. Isn't it natural for me to teach you a lesson? I slapped you, just to teach you a lesson. Don't run around like a stupid roe deer, ignorant and fearless. Fang Fan snorted coldly, and immediately put on the uniform of the archbishop in red, the deputy 3rd rank acting deputy of the Temple of the Alliance of Light. We still need to get the style we should have. It seems to be the costume of the acting red-clothed archbishop of my Light Alliance temple. So young is the acting red-clothed archbishop? Is it true? Idiot, of course it's true. You don't know him anymore? Your eyes really need to be healed. Isn't that the rising star of the temple, Fang Fan? It's him who led the army to destroy a branch of the Dark Temple. He has made great contributions to the Battle of the Gods. It is said that even the saints of Dongguo look up to him. It turned out to be him, so it doesn't seem strange. I haven't seen this big guy before, and I didn't expect to come to the capital of the Chu Kingdom one step earlier. Could it be that he also came for the fruit of God? Got the fruit of God? This, you ask me, who do I ask, but I always feel that the situation is not right. The relationship between Fang Fan and the natives of the Chiyu Kingdom seems to be too good, it's a bit strange. Besides, he slapped Grand Uncle Kyung directly, which is a bit deliberate to show his prestige. He, although it is said that the godson of the temple is only a 4th rank priesthood, his status can even be compared with that of a general 2nd rank cardinal. After all, the Son of God is very likely to become a saint in the temple or even the Pope. Ordinary people dare not offend. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1860. However, if you really care about it, the priesthood level of the Son of God is indeed not high. There seems to be nothing wrong with Fang Fan's acting red-clothed archbishop. The benevolent sees the benevolent and the wise sees the wisdom, but we are both members of the Temple of the Light Alliance, so we shouldn't make the relationship so embarrassing, right? Who knows, anyway, if you can live on, you can live on, and if you can't hold on, let's talk about what you can't hold on. Everyone's gazes gathered separately, and the feelings seemed particularly real. What will happen to Tai Shuqian, the godson of the Temple of the Light Alliance, who has been staring at him for a long time? At this moment, the face of Tai Shuqian, the son of the god of the Alliance of Light, was completely dark. From the bottom of my heart, I wanted to vent the anger in my heart, but in the end, I found that I was speechless. Everything is over. Tai Shuqian has a feeling that a fight is really going to happen. He is not this Fang Fan's opponent. Now it is not good for him to directly gather practitioners from the Temple of the Light Alliance to besiege Fang Fan. After all, he is also a genuine third-rank red-clothed archbishop of the temple, and there is Dongguo Saint behind him. To say that the behavior of beating oneself is not appropriate, but to a certain extent, it does have the meaning of putting oneself in front of one's own death. Snort. It turns out that Fang Fan is acting as the Archbishop in red. Fang Fan, acting as the Archbishop in red, came to the Chu kingdom first, and he must have obtained the fruits of the gods. Now hand over those fruits of the gods. Let us practitioners of the Temple of the Light Alliance directly enter the king's capital. Tai Shuqian, the godson of the Alliance of Light Temple, narrowed his eyes, and there were layers of murderous intent and greed hidden in his eyes. The sky is big and the earth is big, and the divine fruit is the biggest. As long as you can get the fruit of God, it is considered a little humiliation, but it is nothing. You will feel a sense of joy in your heart, which makes you feel very comfortable. Thinking of this, the smiles on Tai Shuqian's face became more and more intense. As long as he gets the divine fruit, he is the biggest winner. Where did you hear the information? How can there be any magic fruit? There has never been any divine fruit in King Chu's palace. If it really existed, I would have taken those divine fruits and flew away long ago. Can you still see them here? Can you use your brain? Go back. With me here, you can't step into the capital of Chu Kingdom. Fang Fan glanced around with cold eyes, looking very domineering. Fang Fan. Do you want to have it all to yourself? There may be more than one divine fruit in King Chu's palace, right? Hee, if you say take one, we won't say anything. After all, you are the first to arrive here, but if you want to take all of them, then we have tossed and tossed for so long to come here, aren't we all doing useless work? How can there be such a reason? I still hope you can think about it carefully. Don't really do it at that time, it's not serious. Everyone is a cultivator of the Temple of the Light Alliance, and it will not look good to kill each other when the time comes. Tai Shuqian, the godson of the Temple of the Alliance of Light, gave a cold shout, with an infinite threat in his eyes. Can you stop talking nonsense? Too noisy. Lead the army directly to break through the city, and then take the fruit of the gods, wouldn't it be enough? At that time, each will rely on his own ability, so why is there so much trouble?